Aloha. Welcome to Lights Drama Action. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And now I'm going to get to today's program regarding the SNAP benefit program. Thank you, and see you in the next one. A fluorescent grocery aisle hums like a neon beehive. Carts squeak, scanners chirp. A mother named Rayna slides her EBT card through the terminal. For a heartbeat, the screen shows a spinning circle, then a flat beep and a single word that can turn a full cart into a cold panic. Declined. The cashier glances apologetic. Behind Rayna, someone sighs. A manager gestures to customer service. And somewhere, far away but suddenly very close, congressional talking points and courtroom orders flutter like snow in a storm. The policy choices of a distant fight just came home in the checkout lane. Here's the truth. This wasn't a glitch. It was a cliff. A funding cliff. A rules cliff. A paperwork cliff. Built from a government shutdown and a brand new law that rewrites how food aid works. Federal judges ordered USDA to use contingency funds to partially pay November SNAP during the shutdown. The administration said about half the usual benefits would be issued and warned of delays. Some states moved to fill the gap. Partial funding. Court's order release. States step in. Maryland pledges $62 million to make households whole for November. DC says it will cover roughly $29 million. Virginia stands up a state program, while cities like Norfolk warn residents about paused federal payments. And the country is improvising in real time because SNAP is oxygen, and you don't bargain with air. Rayna doesn't know any of that yet. She just knows her kids need breakfast in 9 hours. A courthouse facade. Columns, flags, urgency. Inside, lawyers argue about contingency funds, whether USDA must use them now, whether partial is enough, whether the agency can delay because systems weren't built for half checks. A judge lays down a line. The program keeps running, at least in part. The administration confirms partial payments from a roughly $4.65 billion emergency reserve, enough to cover about half a typical month. The rest is a standoff and a stopwatch. Meanwhile, governors and mayors rewrite spreadsheets at midnight. Maryland signs an order to cover the federal shortfall. DC taps local contingency funds. Virginia pushes a weekly state benefit to bridge the gap. The safety net is now patchwork and time is a frayed thread. A conference room. A state SNAP director drops a stack of memos on a table. The cover page reads, "One Big Beautiful Bill Act of 2025 OBB." Sign date, July 4, 2025. The memos are dry, precise, relentless. They redraw the rules, work rules. The age range subject to the strict Able-Bodied Adults Without Dependents time limit rises to 18 to 64. The previous exception for caring for a child under 18 is narrowed to under 14. Temporary exceptions added in 2023 for veterans, homeless individuals, and foster youth aging out are removed. New exceptions apply for certain indigenous categories. Effective July 4, 2025. Waivers of the time limit. States seeking to waive the ABAWD time limit must now show local unemployment over 10%. The older, insufficient jobs path is gone. Alaska and Hawaii get special tests and a temporary good faith exemption path, but the message is clear. Waivers just got harder. Utilities and shelter costs. Internet service can no longer count towards shelter costs for SNAP's excess shelter deduction or be folded into standard utility allowances. The change applies with fiscal year 2026 instructions. SNAP Ed funding. Required federal funding ends with fiscal year 2025. Carryover may be used in fiscal year 2026 with a state plan. After that, no new required federal funding stream unless appropriators act. Thrifty Food Plan TFP. Future revaluations must be cost neutral. Benefits will still get annual inflation, CPI adjustments every October, but the broader periodic modernization that raised benefits in 2021 may not raise costs going forward. We're back with Rayna. She's 29, works a few shifts at a laundromat, and cares for Jamil, age 15. Under the old exception, caring for a child under 18 could have protected her from the ABAWD time limit. Under the new rule, only under 14 qualifies. Rayna flips a calendar. 3 months, 3 X's.
80 hours per month or the benefits stop, school isn't childcare, bills aren't props, and buses don't bend time. Rayna counts options on a sticky note. Night shifts, volunteer hours, ENT, Marco 61, laid off, no dependents at home. He's exempt from general work requirements. Those stop at 60. But now, unlike before, he's still inside the ABAWD age window up to 64. He can't be required to do mandatory ENT, but unless he meets the ABAWD standard or qualifies for a different exception, the 3-month clock still ticks. The ones still eligible must show unemployment over 10%, a high hurdle. Alaska and Hawaii light up with special rules, 150% of national unemployment for waivers, plus a time-limited good faith exemption path. For most states, the waiver door just became a keyhole. Overlay the shutdown, partial SNAP funding, slower state systems, and pressured food banks. Waivers narrow while benefits wobble, a policy vice closing while the floor itself shakes. A family kitchen, walls covered with kids' drawings. Samira, a 34-year-old mother who came to the US as a refugee, flips through old approval letters. Her caseworker points to a memo. Section 10,108 of OBBB narrows non-citizen eligibility to US citizens, US nationals, lawful permanent residents, LPRS, Cuban/Haitian entrants, and COFA citizens. Still subject to normal rules like the 5-year bar unless exempt. Many groups that previously qualified, refugees, asylees, certain parolees, trafficking survivors, are now not eligible for SNAP unless they become LPRS or qualify under a remaining category. Effective July 4, 2025, changes applied at recertification with a limited 120-day variance window for QC. A kitchen table receipt unspools, rent, heat, phone, internet. Under FY 2026 updates, internet costs no longer count towards shelter cost math or SUAS. For families where a broadband bill used to nudge deductions higher, that lever is gone. In an era when homework, job applications, and telehealth ride the same invisible wire, the policy draws a bright line, not an allowable utility for SNAP deductions. Each October, USDA releases the cost of living adjustments that set the maximum allotments, income standards, and deductions for the new fiscal year. For fiscal year 2026 max allotment, 48 states and DC. A family of 4 equals $994 per month, minimum benefit $24, excess shelter deduction cap, 48 states and DC. $744 in standard deductions, homeless shelter deduction, and asset limits are also specified in the memo. That's the ceiling. Whether you reach it depends on income deductions and the rules we've been walking through. Now layer in OBBB's Thrifty Food Plan change. Future reevaluations must be cost neutral. No benefit increases from modernization beyond inflation, though the annual CPI update still applies each October. Analysts warn this could widen the gap between real food costs and benefit adequacy over time, because TFP modernizations no longer lift the ceiling when the world changes. Not all cuts shout, some fade. SNAP-Ed, the nutrition education funding stream, ends as a required federal grant after fiscal year 2025. States can carry fiscal year 2025 funds into fiscal year 2026 with an approved plan. After that, it's up to appropriators and state choices. For families, this isn't a card balance. It's the class that helps stretch recipes and red labels in the language of a tight budget. Back to the aisle where we began. Different day, same hum. The funding shock has pushed states into the breach. Maryland covers the federal shortfall, so November households receive full benefits. DC taps reserves. Virginia runs its own temporary assistance while the federal pipeline sputters. But these are bridges, not roads. Bridges end.